Welcome back to yet another motorcycle camping dedicated video over here on the Her Two Wheels channel. So if you guys are new to the channel and interested in any of my motorcycle camping opinions, in the entire month of February, I'm going to be dedicating my channel to talking all things motorcycle camping. So in this video today, I'm going to go over the best and the worst camping gear that I personally own. I have spent the better part of probably 4 or 5 years trying out and collecting all different kinds of camping gear that I take on my motorcycle trips with me. And every single time I go on a camping trip, I learn something new. So the very first thing I'm going to start out in this video with is obviously the tents. Camping gear is easy enough to find, but motorcycle related camping tents can be a whole separate video on its own. So today I want to talk about the best and the worst camping tent that I have. Starting out, let's talk about the best tent that I have. Just a little over a year ago, I was gifted this Lone Rider tent. This is the ADV tent that Lone Rider has on their channel. I also have the Lone Rider Moto tent, and I love that tent, but it didn't make the top spot because of a few very important key features. So the reason I love the ADV tent the best is, number one, the quality is immaculate. I have camped in this tent personally many times, and every time I am shocked and impressed by the high quality feel of this tent. It's all inclusive, everything you need to set this tent up. It has its own ground tarp, or a footprint that fits on the ground perfectly under the tent. It is standalone, so what that means is you don't have to stake it into the ground in order for it to stand up. You can lift it up and clean it out, and it has a separate rain fly. So you throw the rain fly over or leave it off if you want to sleep under the stars. The reason I like this tent the best is because it is a lightweight version. It comes in its own water resistant bag, and it also has some key features on it for motorcycle travel. So a lot of times I'll put this tent on the back of my motorcycle and have this caution sign facing traffic behind me because it really does just extra alert people to look out. It also has these reflective strips and multiple points of attachment. So this is the best tent that I have, is the Lone Rider ADV tent. Like I said, this was given to me, but I am not sponsored by Lone Rider. They did not pay me to say anything about their products, but I will link this tent down in the description if you guys are interested in checking it out. Now, the worst tent that I have. This is totally subjective because honestly, this tent is fine, but it's not great for motorcycle camping. So Christmas of 2020, I put this tent on my wish list to give to my mom for a Christmas list. And yeah, I kind of regret it. Thank you, Mama Two Wheels, but I don't use it that often. Okay. This can't even fit in the frame. This is the He Wolf Instant Pop tent, and it is hexagonal in shape, super cool looking. It has 2 opening doors, and it sets up almost instantly. I can totally say this is so nice that you don't have to sit there and feed the little tubes through the thing. It's just the whole thing just pops open, and it's wonderful. The reason I think this is the worst tent that I own is because it's huge, number one. Since it does have that hydraulic lift, the poles can't really collapse into a small enough manner. Another reason this is kind of the worst tent on my list is, even though the hexagonal shape looks cool, it makes for a very awkward sleeping arrangement inside. My husband and I both slept in this tent at one point, and it was barely big enough to fit 2 twin-size mattresses in there. So it was a little awkward in shape to be inside, and I haven't been able to find a tarp or a footprint to put underneath it that doesn't either completely stick out on awkward areas or lets the actual tent set on the cold ground. So the nice thing about this tent, though, it was cheap. I think I picked this up for, well, my mom bought it for me, but I think it was right around $80, and it sets up instantly. But for motorcycle camping, not so much. But once again, I will have this link down in the description if you're interested in checking it out. Okay, back into some of my favorites of motorcycle camping. My best cooking appliance is my Stanley French press. And the reason this is one of my favorites is because it doubles as not only a pot to cook in or boil water, it is a French press that holds a little cup on the inside. So this is definitely my favorite to keep around with me just because I can boil water, I can make food, I can make my coffee in it, and it was very affordable. I'll also have a link to this down in the description, and I believe you can save 10% off on Moto Camp Nerd's website. So that was short and easy. This is my favorite cooking apparatus. My least favorite cooking apparatus is this collapsible cook set that I got on Amazon. It just kind of falls apart, which is very inconvenient for motorcycle travel. The lids don't stay shut. And it's a lot. I mean, like, which is great. If I was legitimately living off of my motorcycle, this would be fine. It even comes with a kettle. It's like a little tea kettle, which is super cute, and a couple pots. The reason I hate this cook set is because I don't cook enough, so I don't use any of these big pots and pans. It's bulky. Everything flies apart, obviously. And you have to baby whatever you're cooking in it because things burn to the bottom of these pots. That could just be my cooking skills, but I do have a skillet of this. It is kind of nice because the little handles like fold open and they're compact. So I do have the skillet version of this that I do cook in. You guys have seen me cooking in that skillet before, but it just gets the living hell burnt out of it when I cook in that pot, and it's really hard to clean. So I believe this whole set was maybe $25, $30 or something, and I hate it. So I bought it with my own money, lesson learned. I do like the little plates that it comes with, like little plates, but other than that, I don't use this cook set whatsoever. Hate it. Worst. Next on the list of best and worst items that I take motorcycle camping with me, my favorite item that I take with me is this little tiny inflatable pillow. This pillow is actually, it's lined with this like fabric. So there's this fabric in here, and it's really nice to be able to lay on that and not have your face stick to like rubber or plastic or something because it is inflatable. It's also very quiet. When it's inflated, because of the casing that it's in, you don't hear like that plasticky noise flopping around. So I believe I bought this at Target. It says Outdoor Products, so that must be the brand. I bought this at Target probably 4 years ago for about $18. I'm sure they've gone up since then. But I take this on every single motorcycle camping trip with me. So this is my best, and then my worst pillow that I use is this Snug Pack pillow. Now, I actually had this given to me by Moto Camp Nerd last year while I was trying to replace all of my items, and I thought this Snug Pack pillow was going to be wonderful because it is packaged all in its own case. So when you open it up, it comes out, do this gracefully. So it comes out of its little shell, like that. I don't think I'm doing it right. And it opens up into like a pretty decent pillow. The thing I dislike about this pillow is the fact that it doesn't actually compress down that small. So for reference, this is super tiny, like smaller than a water bottle. It's easy to fit on your motorcycle. This thing is still pretty large, but it is substantial. Like, it is squishy. But that being said, it doesn't have like a smooth or a fabric case on it. So this like nylon material is really loud when you're sleeping. And it's almost an awkward size. It's almost too big to be comfortable and too small to be comfortable. I don't know if that makes any sense, but my neck hurts really bad every single time I sleep with this pillow. It is nice that it comes, you know, it folds up into its own little baggie here, but it just kind of takes up a lot of space. I actually do have a tiebreaker at the end of this video, so if you want to know something that I can't decide which is best or worst, stay tuned. But up next is sleeping bags. Sleeping bags are so important to me because I camp in some of the most random inclement weather. It could be 90 degrees Fahrenheit and I'm dying of sweating to death in my tent, or it could be 28 degrees Fahrenheit and I'm freezing to death. So I have camped in all different kinds of temperature swings. So this next item is very important to me, and this is my favorite item that I go camping with. And that is my Big Agnes. Here we go. Big Agnes Diamond Park. I believe this is a 15-degree sleeping bag. 0 degree Fahrenheit. That means this bag is safe to keep me nice and toasty. I would say probably down to about 20 degrees. I feel like 20 degrees Fahrenheit is a pretty good sleeping bag temperature. Now, obviously that's dependent on the mattress you're sleeping on or the air pad, so there's a whole science behind this. But this bag specifically is absolutely amazing because it's huge, first of all. It does compress down. It comes with its own little compression sack, so it compresses pretty small. And when you're sleeping, it has a little net underneath it to hold your air mattress. So that's the best part because all of your down or all of your insulation on your sleeping bag, this one especially, is on top of you. The bottom of your sleeping bag is relatively thin. So when you roll and toss and turn at night, if you toss in your sleeping bag and the bottom of your bag gets on top of you, you will freeze. So the fact that it latches to your mattress was a mind-blowing experience. So that means I can be on the inside rolling and moving and doing everything I need, and the bag still stays flat. So this was also gifted to me from Moto Camp Nerd, and if I didn't know about items like this, I don't know how I would have ever continued camping. So this is a very expensive bag. If you guys are interested, I do have Moto Camp Nerd discounts in the description, but it has been an absolute game changer, and I will never sleep with any other sleeping bag other than this. Even in the warm, like in hot weather, I will probably still take this with me because I can sleep with or without it, and it's just a very, very comfortable sleeping bag. So this is my favorite, my best camping sleeping bag. And on to the worst. I don't even want to take this out. Oh, this is Coleman. I didn't realize. I typically like Coleman products, but I hate this sleeping bag. I'll pop up a picture here because honestly, this is so big. I believe this is also a 0 degree sleeping bag. I'm not sure. It is a mummy bag. It's the most uncomfortable sleeping bag I have ever slept in. I was incredibly stuck inside of this thing, and packing it away I probably lost 15 pounds just like struggling and sweating trying to put this back in its little container, and it's still not very compact. I honestly don't remember how much this is. It was not that expensive. I don't even know if it was above $50, but as soon as I got this in the mail, I was like, oh no, this is a mistake. This is too big. It won't fit on the motorcycle easily. It's too bulky, and instead of returning it, I'm actually going to donate it. I'm getting together with a bunch of girls here very soon, and we're going to be doing gear swap for motorcycle camping. So I have a lot of gear. And pretty much everything on this list in the worst category is going to go get donated. And it's not the best product, but hey, it's going to be free for somebody. So yeah. That's what I'm doing with my worst product. Also, at the end of this video, next to the tiebreaker, I will be answering 3 subscriber questions specifically relating about moto camping, so stay tuned for those. We are finally on to the tiebreaker. These are the items that they're not the best, they're not the worst, but I find myself in a pickle trying to decide which ones I want to take motorcycle camping with me. So that's why they're in a tie, because sometimes I don't know which one to take based on the kind of camping I'm going to be doing. So first off is my beloved Ozark Trail air mattress. I forgot the word for a second. This is the air mattress that you have seen in so many of my videos. It was $15 at Walmart. It doesn't need a pump. It self-inflates. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't self-inflate. It inflates with a pump bag. So this is very comparable to the next item I'm going to show you. But the reason I love this is just because it's so thick, 8.5 inches. It's very thick. It's comfortable. It's quiet to sleep on, and you don't need a pump to inflate it. So I really love this air mattress, and I have a really hard time camping with any other air mattress other than this one. So that being said, I also received this amazing Sea to Summit sleeping pad. It's very lightweight. This thing probably weighs like 1 pound. It's considered a thermo-light sleeping pad. It comes with an inflation bag attached to it. So once again, you do not need batteries or a pump to inflate this air mattress. It has the bag right here. And it's all contained, it's self-contained in here. So the thing I love about this is just how lightweight it is. And if you remember back to my sleeping bag, I mentioned that the bag fits over the sleeping pad. It'll fit over the sleeping pad. So this airs up to about, I wanna say 2.5 or 3 inches. It's not super big, but it's not really thin. It's very comfortable if you lay flat on your back. If you're a side sleeper like me, you will develop pressure points, you will dig into the bottom of your tent, and that is what it is. So the reason I love bringing this one with me is because, once again, it's very easy to inflate. It fits up into my sleeping bag so I don't roll off of it, and it's super lightweight. The downside of this is, like I mentioned, it's thin. So if you're a side sleeper, you dig into the ground, and it's very expensive. But I do think this is wonderful for people who either don't have a lot of storage or luggage on their motorcycle, or people who enjoy backpacking. Me, I ride a big old bagger, and I can afford to buy bigger gear if it's more comfortable. But I have camped with this so many times, and it is perfectly fine. Sometimes I don't know which one I want. Do I want a bigger, squishier mattress to move around on, or do I want something a little more lightweight that is easy to pack up and put away? So those are my best and worst gear items. So obviously this is all personal preference, all experience, but before we get into the end of the video, I want to get into the subscriber questions. So the first question we have is Marvin Norton. Also, if you guys want to ask questions that I can answer publicly on my channel in these videos, head over to this video right here on my channel and leave a question. That's where I keep going back to that video and referencing your questions. So I'll put that link at the end of this video. It'll be on the end screen, so stay tuned. You can click on that video and go leave a comment. So this first comment comes from Marvin Norton, and it says, "What app do you use to find a good campground for when you can't go to ones you know of? Sometimes you need to find one in the area and you're not a fan of it." So I tend to go to the same campgrounds that I know when I just want to do an easy night of camping, because I already know how to get there. I know what the campsites are going to be like, where the camp store is, what the firewood is like, and all of that. But every so often I do get on the app called Hip Camp, I believe. It's like a little teepee looking thing. And I'll just browse campsites around my area. Luckily, there are some very wonderful campsites, and I think I would love to try some of these campsites out. Unfortunately, they are very rural, and there's no real roads leading to them. A lot of them are on private properties or farms, and I can't take my 900-pound motorcycle just traipsing through the mud and brush to get to these campsites. Now, if I had a more off-road capable motorcycle, maybe one day, but until then, I tend to stick to campgrounds that I know and trust. I also did buy this book on Amazon last year. I found this gentleman on YouTube one time discussing all of his campsites that he goes to in Ohio, and this is his second book that he's published, and it's called Best Tent Camping Ohio, second edition, and it says Your Car Camping Guide to Scenic Beauty. So obviously he's referring to people who do not camp in campers. You don't have to be in a car to use information from this book. So I got this on Amazon. I think it was like a $25 purchase, and he goes through and lists details about the campsite as well as rules of the campsite and whether or not it's private owned, a state park, if there's wheelchair access, yada yada. So it's very interesting, and I love just kind of perusing the book, and then I get online later and research it. So yeah, that's typically how I find my campgrounds. This next question from Tom Jones says, "When you camp, you rarely take someone with you," which I get, but you also rarely meet other campers in the video. So do you get out and meet your neighbors, or do I just keep to myself? I do. Yeah, I meet my neighbors all the time. I'm just not putting a camera in their face. People are very curious when they see me camping and filming, and especially when they see a motorcycle roll up and a girl hops off of it by herself and she goes camping. So typically it's the neighbors walking up to me to just their curiosity gets the best of them and they want to see what I'm up to. But of course, yeah, I'll meet with my neighbors. I have not personally joined any neighbors around a campfire for a beer or anything like that because I am camping and I have things I want to do personally. So I do that. But sometimes I go during the week. I love going during the week because there is significantly less people to camp. So I enjoy that because I don't typically have to talk to my neighbors. One time I did have neighbors who had a dog and he was so cute and I was so excited, and then they left as I was setting up camp. I was a little sad. And then this question is from MotoWeasel66. How many motorcycle-friendly campgrounds are in Ohio, and are there any dispersed campgrounds in Ohio? So the answer to motorcycle-friendly, I think there's a ton of motorcycle-friendly campgrounds. We have so many state park campgrounds that are so beautiful. They're beautifully paved. They're easy to set up in. I just haven't been to very many of them because I haven't really truly ventured out and experienced a lot of these parks. There are also plenty of privately owned campgrounds. I can't personally say how many of them are motorcycle friendly. I've only been to a couple that were. But as for dispersed camping, we do have dispersed camping. It's not public lands. If you can find somebody who owns a private campground with primitive or dispersed camping, that would be awesome. But I do know there is a national forest in southeastern Ohio where you can hike in and camp and do stuff like that. You got to do your research. It's not widely known in the state of Ohio. Everything is typically like an RV park, which is unfortunate, but there are areas to go dispersed camping, and I would love to try some kind of, primitive or dispersed camping on a more off-road capable motorcycle. So there you go. That is my video about my best and worst camping gear, and obviously these links are down in the description if you want to check them out. But thank you guys for watching, and until my next one, you be good. And I'll see you later.